Hello and welcome to La La Land on LA Talk Live. I'm your host, Brett Chapin. Thanks for joining us on La La Land. This is the only nationally broadcast show by Los Angeles artists about Los Angeles artists. And we are very happy to have three very special guests with us today. We have actress Alicia Grant and actors Charles Pasternak and Thomas Bigley of Portrait of Hellsgate. I just said Alicia Grant. That's next week's guest. I'm sorry. This is Alicia Lara.
Alicia Lara, that's me.
Thanks for joining us, Alicia. Is there a way to turn this down? Because my mic is really loud in my ears.
Well, you got to turn it down from that.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, you got to turn it down from there.
Okay, perfect. So before I get to you guys, I want to let everyone know about our co-host search that we're doing right now. We have 6 guest co-hosts coming in for the next 6 weeks, and they are going to be co-hosting an episode. These are people that send in submission videos, and they're going to be co-hosting an episode, and then our audience is going to choose, once all 6 have co-hosted, who they want to co-host the show.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. We're going to be starting next weekend with Dorothy Dillingham Blue, and going through the next 5 weekends, so it should be good stuff. So make sure you pay attention to our Facebook and our Twitter, guys, so that you can be able to vote once all 6 people have guest co-hosted.
I'll definitely vote. I'm going to vote.
Vote away. So let's kind of maybe start with you, Alicia.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Alicia. Alicia is a film and television actress.
I am.
And also a theater actress, I believe.
I've done theater, yes.
And
mostly film.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So let's maybe start from the beginning with you. How did you first get into this whole acting thing?
Okay. Well, I'm from San Francisco,
Mhm.
and I started my training there while I was actually finishing college in the East Bay. I went to St. Mary's, and I did not get my degree in acting, but it's what I wanted to do. So when I was finishing up my degree, I started training with Shelley Mitchell in San Francisco,
Mhm.
at the Actors Center of San Francisco. And the minute I graduated, I went over to LA, continued my training here, and it's just been this whole learning process. It's a lot different than you expect it's going to be, and very hard and fascinating.
Sure.
The whole journey.
Absolutely. I can imagine. Was there some sort of a particular incident or something that made you want to pursue acting?
I always wanted to.
Yeah.
Originally I wanted to be a singer.
Really?
And I just, I heard all this. It's so hard to break into it. Little did I know that breaking into acting is just as crazy.
Yeah.
And then I started doing some stage in high school. Actually, before high school, I think I did Bye Bye Birdie.
Nice.
And
That's a good one.
you just get hooked on the audience and getting into a character. It's just a fun thing to do. And then you start having to put in the work to pursue it as a career. And you stay in it, and it just grows and grows.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it starts out as, oh, this will be fun.
But then it kind of grows into something
Yeah.
that you enjoy.
Oh, yeah, that you kind of have to do.
What was your first thing that you officially worked on?
In LA?
In LA.
I don't even know if I can remember back. It was
Mhm.
probably a short film. I couldn't tell you the name of it. Maybe Secret Crush?
Secret Crush?
Maybe it was.
Okay.
And
What was that? What was that all about?
it was a short film. My character, now I'm remembering, my character worked in an office, and all these different people had secret crushes on other people, and someone in my office had a crush on me. It was 4 days of filming. It was great experience. I have no idea how it turned out. I never got a finished copy, which is typical.
Sure.
But that was the first, and that was a few years ago now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Was I mean, you also worked on a show, a web series called The Resolve.
Yeah, The Resolve. I never even had given thought to web series, and I got cast in that. I just responded to a casting notice, and it kind of opened my eyes to the whole world of web series, and that's possible. You can make your own content and do your own stuff because the web is there for everybody.
Sure.
So that opened my eyes to that. What I also learned from that is it's really hard to get anything done. Getting the people to do the editing, getting the people to do all the post-production work, it's incredibly hard, and you take on a big task.
You do.
with it.
You
Yeah.
do. But it's so interesting. Web series have just blown up over the last
They're
10 years. They're
everywhere.
all over the place.
They're everywhere.
You know, and it's such an opportunity for actors that wasn't there years ago. You know, it's great.
Yeah, because I ended up doing my own because I was inspired by the fact that this person, the creator, Russ Couttet, got this done. And so I did my own. It's a lot of work. If you can come up with a simple idea that's really great and character driven, and you don't need a lot of locations and equipment, etc., then I suggest you start with that, unless you have millions of connections
Sure.
or money.
Which most of us do not have.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the plot of The Resolve, because that's actually where I kind of discovered you.
Is it?
And
Okay.
it's a great web series. I want our audience to kind of check it out.
Yeah. The Resolve was about it was about a guy who was maybe a murderer. Yeah, and you just kind of never knew until the end, I think. And he had his way of dealing with things in society he thought were wrong and people who were wrong, and he took care of it his own way.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of vigilante justice kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Really interesting web series.
Yeah.
Check it out, guys. The Resolve. And then from that, you were inspired to do your own web series.
I did an indie film right before that. Henry Jaglom directed this film, Irene in Time, I was in. So I did that film. I did the Resolve series. And then I decided to do my own web series, Urban Jungle Dating Dilemmas. And that's where, boy, I worked on that for probably almost a year.
Yeah.
And got 6 episodes out of it and took a break after that. And I may do some in the future, but it's very hard.
It is.
It's a lot of work.
What's Urban Jungle Dating Dilemmas? That's
It's
a
a
tongue
mouthful.
twister. Yeah.
UJDD. It's, when I moved to LA, as most people have experienced, the dating scene here is a little crazy.
Yeah.
And so the original idea was to just outline some of the things that I had experienced, but it didn't end up happening that way in the series. We got off on another tangent, but it was originally about what you go through on the dating scene.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, in cities like LA, New York, San Francisco.
It's not easy.
No. And you run into some really interesting characters.
It sounds like kind of a Sex in the City type of a
That
thing.
was part of my inspiration, but
Yeah.
quirkier
Okay.
and not so much money
Right.
spent on shoes.
Of course. Limited funds.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Somebody decides to make a movie of the life of Alicia Lara. Who would you want to play you, and why?
What I've never thought of that.
I don't know, not to push you on the spot, but
Yeah,
it's I know it's a tough question.
I know
but
there are actresses that I adore: Emma Thompson, Cate Blanchett. If we wait until I'm older, Helen Mirren,
Sure.
Judi Dench.
Sure.
I mean, if I had my way, I suppose it'd be Emma Thompson.
Do you think you maybe your career might be a little bit parallel to yours? Are you kind of trying to form your career?
Well, Emma Thompson makes a
similar?
lot of her own stuff. She did Nanny McPhee, when they produce their own. And Cate Blanchett does a lot of theater. She has her own theater company, I think, in Australia or Chicago. I don't remember where. I like
Right.
that. I like that people that take charge and put their own stories out there and have the know-how, which is what I was missing in my web series, have the know-how to get it done and get their vision from here onto the screen in the way that they want to. And then, of course, just the talent as actresses.
Yeah.
I mean, ridiculous.
I think it's helpful to them too that they know people that have those tools.
They've been in
to
the
get
industry
things
a
done.
long time, yeah.
Yeah,
So they have
definitely.
resources. It's all about resources that you have access to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's
Good question.
What are some of the fun things that I know you have AliciaLara.com.
Yeah.
What are some of the fun things that people can find on there if they want to know a
Well,
little more
fun,
about you?
I mean, there's the standard bio. There are pictures, there's reels, there's the web series, there's short films. I have links to everything, links to all the acting sites that I'm listed on. I mean, I'm sure if you Googled me, there'd be quite a few things that you could, if you
There is.
is there?
Yeah.
So chose to look them up. There's plenty. There's a short film called The Fish that was not a lot of budget, but I really like the story, so I have that on my website.
Very
where
nice.
People can view that. Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a bit.
So you're kind of out there now. You're auditioning. You're doing your thing.
Yeah, I am. Next thing, well, I just did it's called a sizzle reel, kind of a commercial for a series that's being pitched to the Stars Network. and I was cast in that and just filmed that.
Fantastic.
So if that gets picked up, the creator has assured me I'd have the role. We'll see.
Nice.
And then there's a feature film I've been cast in. Hopefully, we're filming next year. It's called Burden of Freedom. Kyle Hester is the lead in that, and I would be playing his wife.
Our friend and former co-host.
Kyle, yes, I met
Yeah.
him on the Resolve,
Excellent.
actually.
Excellent.
And we've stayed in touch ever since, and we like each other's work, so stay in touch quite frequently.
Excellent.
So for right now, that's what I've got going on.
That's great.
Yeah, you never know what's coming around the bend.
What about family? Is your family pretty supportive of your career choice?
Okay, well, my father is no.
No. Okay.
No. Do something
wish.
else. And the thing about acting is, I think if there was something else that fired you up as much, you probably would do it. But generally, actors do acting because they need to.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be quite happy doing anything else.
Yeah.
My mother's supportive. She's a writer.
Very nice. So she knows what's.
Yeah.
She kind of knows what it's like.
She's like, I get it.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things. It really has to. You have to live and breathe it, and it
It's
has
not
to.
the most stable life you could choose.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not, and that's why you have to live and breathe it and,
Yeah.
and really love it.
You have to be driven to it,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Definitely. I mean, so many people come here from wherever and they get off the Greyhound bus and they think it's just they're going to
And
be
they give up.
stars. Yeah.
Pretty quickly, I've noticed.
I think I saw a statistic that said like it's 80% give up in the first year.
Which is good, because if you can do something else, do something else.
Yeah.
And it's a cliche that actors hear, but it's true,
Mm-hmm.
I think. But what I don't get is I see, or I'm in touch with people on social media that have just moved here, and within a year they haven't landed the perfect agent and the perfect gigs, and they're saying, why not? And I'm going, a sense of entitlement. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to work a long time.
I always love the comment too. Is my agent isn't getting me out on any auditions?
Right.
It's like, what are you doing? You know?
Notes, people. It's the agent's there to help, but you still have to keep
Yeah.
getting yourself out there. And people, people I've worked with write roles for me and ask me to be in future projects. So it's all about getting out there and working and figuring out who you want to work with,
Yeah.
and they'll find you.
Actually, getting roles written for you. That's great.
I've had 2 or 3
Very nice.
written for me. Yeah.
So, what do you think is the most important thing for an actor to have? If there was one personality trait, and I know it's kind of hard.
Persistence.
Persistence.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, just really
Yeah.
getting out and doing your thing.
Yeah, which goes along with discipline, I think.
Absolutely.
So they kind of go hand in hand. And discipline would be being a reliable person, showing up when you need to show up, prepared.
Hmm.
I think that's important.
You know what's funny is I find that a lot of actors aren't necessarily people that were disciplined in school.
Oh, no, sure not.
You know? Yeah, but they're so disciplined with their career.
It's because I think the ones that get a clue, that have a clue, know they have to make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it used to be that way. I don't know if it's always been that way, but from what I've seen, that's how it is now. You have to really take it in your own hands and make it happen.
Absolutely. You can't sit back and wait for opportunities.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
make them happen on your own. So what about, because you're very, very active on social media and Facebook and Twitter. You're on Twitter at Alicia Lara LA,
That's
right?
me, yes.
And then you're on Facebook at facebook.com/Alicia Lara, I'm
There's
assuming?
Alicia, Lara. Is it Alicia Lara LA too? It could be.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just do a search for her
Yeah,
on.
I've got an acting page on there. I think that social media has been great. You don't have to spend 5 hours a day on it, really. You just kind of be yourself, I've figured.
Yeah.
Be yourself, put out there what you're interested in, also acting, but not just acting.
Yes.
It's everything I'm interested in. If I see a headline that interests me, whatever. And I found some great people through it, and a job here and there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity that I don't think enough actors use it.
You
know,
don't
it's-
think so?
I think more could use it. Yeah,
Hmm.
a lot do, but I do hear from actors, I don't want to use it because it's a privacy issue, but
We're not private.
Yeah, when you become an actor, you kind of give up.
You're
that.
not private anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes dating hard.
You can't.
They can find out anything.
Yeah, you can't really have your cake and eat it too.
No.
You gotta either
Yeah.
commit or not.
Yeah.
So, gosh, you're doing so much and you've done so much in your past. It's kind of hard to get through all this. But what was maybe the most important or the role that you enjoyed the most and why?
I think Well, I did enjoy the Urban Jungle Dating Dilemmas role because, I wrote that.
Sure.
And so it was definitely something I wanted to say. I enjoyed the role in Henry Jaglam's film. It was a woman who was describing her relationship with her father, and I got to explore that a little bit, and I got a whole monologue on screen. That
Interesting.
was fun. It was fun to film with him, too. He's interesting.
That's interesting what you said before about your dad isn't super supportive. So maybe you delved into a little of your personal.
Yeah, well, yeah, my dad, he's Greek,
Mhm.
and they have old-fashioned sometimes views about women.
Sure.
And what I do in my life and how it's turning out, he doesn't understand it. That's all.
Yeah.
But as the years have gone on, he gets that it's just me. So, we're in touch. Everything's cool. He just doesn't get it, and I don't blame him. I mean,
Okay. A little different time that he grew up in.
exactly.
A little
Yeah.
different mentality.
Yeah.
But yet he sees actors like actresses, female actresses on the screen,
Yeah, I don't
So
know if he really is a movie watcher.
no.
Not
Okay.
too much, not so much.
All right. Well, that's nice. You have your mom. It's very, very
Yeah, yeah.
supportive.
Oh, my dad's there too in his way. And my mom is a writer, so it's I think I said that already.
Mhm.
She's very supportive. She gets it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is there any other maybe skills that you have besides acting? Like, do you play music? Do you write?
I write.
You write.
I love to sing, but I would not actually say I'm a singer, but I love it.
Uh-huh.
And writing, I love.
What kind of things do you write?
I've been published in a literary magazine. I wrote
Excellent.
an essay. That was a couple of years ago. I've been published in some blogs. I The essay was basically it's look within type of deal. I guess
Okay.
that's the kind of writing I do. I've also done some short stories. I have a little book I was putting together, just basically kind of fables.
Oh,
Short.
wow.
I tend to do short, not novel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this something that people could look at somewhere on the internet, or is it for your own personal use?
I might be able to find some stuff.
Okay.
Maybe I'll post links.
Yeah.
Okay.
Post links
On
on
my
Alicia
Facebook
Lara.
fan page or something.
Why not? Excellent.
Okay, sure.
So you're auditioning right now. You're
hmm
doing your thing. Do you think it's really? I don't know if you've worked in. Well, obviously you've worked in San Francisco. So how do you think?
I haven't really worked there. No, I started training there and then I came right here.
Okay.
So I haven't done a lot of work there. I would love to.
Have you auditioned there?
If I did, it was once or twice,
Okay.
literally. I think for a short film.
Well, then let me put the question this way: how is the art scene in
hmm
LA different from the art scene in San Francisco?
I don't see a huge difference.
No.
No, because the auditioning I'm remembering is similar. Short films, not a lot of budget. They're kind of going to be similar everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other scene I would think of is there's theater scene. San Francisco got a decent theater scene,
Sure.
and the training is classes or classes basically. It depends on which classes you're drawn to. Here, you can get. I don't know if you can get them in San Francisco. San Francisco, they're about the art of acting, and here you can get classes, marketing yourself, business, and how to audition, and almost more of the
Okay.
business end
That's a good
as
skill
opposed
to
to the
have.
art end. Yeah, it is. You need both. But you can't just do one.
Sure.
You can't just do the business end and not know how to act.
Yeah, you
You know?
definitely have to have both. But a
Yeah,
lot of actors are very good actors and don't know how to do the business end. I'm
that may be true.
Yeah.
I could see how that would be true. Although I think the coming up now and the way things are now with social media, I would think that they would be better than they used to be.
I think they're learning.
Yeah,
I know I am,
yeah,
you know.
I'm sure you are.
So yeah, it's a
Because you're very
huge
into the
tool.
social media.
Yeah, we market the show a lot on social media and Facebook
Yeah,
and Twitter.
that's where I see you.
Yeah, at La La Land Talk on Twitter. But yeah, it's a huge tool. It's very beneficial.
hmm
And it's been very helpful for us and for you, clearly.
Yeah, it has, and I enjoy it honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, people from all over, from Australia, speak to me, or in Ohio, wherever. They have,
it's so crazy, isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah, it could be anywhere.
So for someone that comes to LA, say it's their first day in LA and they happen to meet you, what advice would you give them? They came to LA to pursue their dream to be an actor.
hmm
Is there particular advice that you would give them?
I would see how much training they have.
Hmm.
Are they very comfortable? Are they ready to be going out? on auditions. If not, I would say take an audition class.
Sure.
Because what I found, and it took me a while to find it, is that auditioning is very different than actually doing the role.
Yes.
It's a different beast, and it took me a while to figure that out. Not so into auditioning, actually, if I may say.
Same way. I'm the same way. But I can do the part.
I
fine.
love the
It's-
role.
Yeah.
I love doing the role, but the auditioning is a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say get that under control before you're seen by a lot of people and do a bunch of crappy auditions.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I would say start developing your social media while you're doing that, and then different people say different things about casting director workshops. I'm not sure. It depends. You have to be
I have
careful
mixed
about
feelings
them.
about them
You have
myself.
to be careful about who you get in front of, and don't throw a lot of money away on things that the people who need to see you aren't going to see you.
Yeah.
I'm 50-50 on that. So
Okay.
I would I'd be saying, get yourself a stable place to live, figure out how you're going to pay your bills,
Sure.
bread and butter.
Take
Okay?
care of that first.
Yeah, and then you can put your energy towards what you need to.
Absolutely.
And be in it for the long haul. Don't give yourself a 6-month time limit, because forget it, just go back.
You'd be lucky to get an agent in 6
Yeah,
months. You
yeah.
know? So
Exactly.
really got to stick with it.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah. I've actually spoken to people who have just moved here and given them those tips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still here? Has it worked out for them?
One is.
Okay. One out of the 20 that you spoke to.
I don't know if it's working out.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to sound negative about the industry. It's an amazing industry. We're all so lucky to work in it, but you have to work at it.
You do,
You know?
and there's still no guarantees.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to make your living, or that you're going to make it the way you think making it is,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of luck and timing involved. I mean, I certainly haven't gotten to anywhere near where I would like to be,
Sure.
and I've been here years.
And I think that definition, like you said, of making it is different for a lot of people. I think if your definition of making it is being a superstar, that's not
And the
the right
more I'm
reason.
here, the more I know I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Honestly.
I want to work in cool roles and have people say, wow, she did a great job in that role.
Mhm.
But would I want paparazzi? No.
No, I could do without all that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I
They're
was
not
in,
exactly running after me, but I don't want them. So
I was in Pacific Palisades the other day, and Jennifer Garner was there at
Yeah.
the farmer's market, and the poor girl.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 10, 15 guys just around her everywhere, just trying to get her baby out of the car, and they're just
Right.
snapping pictures. And
Tom Cruise's kids do soccer where I run.
Uh-huh.
And so one day I showed up, and there was this whole screen set up and all these cameras, really expensive cameras behind it. And I'm going, this is my track. What's going on?
Yeah.
And there they were.
They
It
weren't
was-
there for you?
No, I walked right
unbelievable.
by them.
It's a lot to deal with. It's
Yeah.
a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like you. I want to make enough money to get paid and be able to pay my bills
And be able to share a little bit.
be able to share a
you
little
know.
bit. And
I'd like to save some doggies in the shelters.
Sure. Oh, we should talk about that. That's kind of another thing that's close to your heart. And
Yeah, it is.
I noticed a lot of dog shelter pictures up
Yeah,
on your
yeah. I
Facebook.
work in the shelters. I've been over to Baldwin Park Shelter quite a few times. It took me years to be able to do that, because it's hard to go in and not be able to take them home and know what might happen.
Oh
you know?
yeah,
But I
definitely.
figure give them some love, and even if it's just for that day, it's something.
That's
yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, tough, but I think it helps.
We had a couple on last week from a group called An Active Dog. And did you happen to catch that?
No, I didn't hear that one.
They're doing 5,500 portraits of shelter dogs.
The portraits make all the difference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the money is going to help out the dogs. I think it's great.
Yay! I will look them up.
Yeah, check them out. An Active
Definitely.
Dog. And so where people can find you on AliciaLara.com, clearly. People can find you on Facebook and Twitter.
Alicia Lara, LA.
Alicia
Come tweet
Lara,
me, people.
LA. So your dream role, you find a magic lamp on the beach and you rub it, and Genie comes out and he says, Alicia, I can give you any role that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe what type of role you would be looking for?
Well, honestly, I see me in. I tried to branch out into comedy, with commercial acting and with the web series, but I think I see me in drama, and that's what most people see me
Mm-hmm.
in. So I'm sure it would be something really dramatic and really heart-wrenching,
Okay.
possibly involving Robert De Niro.
There you go.
Yeah. A nice supporting role that really makes an impact. How about Robert De Niro's relative, like a niece or something?
Okay. I can
Yeah,
actually see that. You guys look a little
because there's a
similar.
similarity in look. He's
Yeah.
Italian, I'm Greek,
Yeah.
There's a similarity. So that's why he pops in my mind. I could play a relative.
Be nice.
Yeah, so maybe I'm an abused something or other.
Okay. Just something that makes people think, huh? Something
And then
dramatic
whatever
and-
the character does to react, it's always the point to touch them somehow. Just touch them and make them remember what they felt, and either for good or bad.
That's really nice. That's really I think
Isn't
if
that the
you're-
whole point of acting?
Yeah, if you're in it to make a difference.
You just want to touch somebody, because that's what got me into it. People touched me.
Absolutely.
Roles touched me, and it might not be a role that you think would be the standard role that would touch you. You see something at a certain point in your life, and it helps you.
Isn't that great? It's a very it's almost a power trip in a way. It's a very powerful thing that actors have that ability to make people feel emotion, to make people
It's what we
like
want.
you, or yeah,
We want that opportunity.
yeah,
That's the goal.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Actress Alicia Lara, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brett. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. We have clapping on this show. We didn't have that before. This is something all new.
You guys.
Very nice. We'll go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Charles Pasternak and Thomas Bigley, who look nothing like Alex Parker from Porters of Hellsgate. We'll be back on La La Land on LA Talk Live. Hello, and welcome to La La Land on LA Talk Live. Welcome back. We are talking today with actors Charles Pasternak and Thomas Bigley of Porters of Hellsgate. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
And I said before that you look nothing like Alex Parker, because
It's true.
Alex Parker of Porters of Hellsgate was going to join us, and he sent you two as
his,
ringers.
in his stead.
Yes, very nice. So tell us a little bit about Porters of Hellsgate. This is a theater company, and I gotta say, when I hear Porters of Hellsgate, when I hear the name of your theater company, I just want to say it in a really raspy voice. But what's okay? Well, maybe we should hit on why it's called Porters of Hellsgate. What the significance of that is. I know, but tell our audience.
Well, it's a quote from Macbeth by Shakespeare, and we started about 6 years ago. I was drunk at a party with two friends of mine, and we decided to start a theater company. And then we remembered the next day, and we did.
All right.
The search for a name is always tough because it defines you in a way. We know we wanted to do Shakespeare and we wanted to do classics. So we sort of scoured for the right quote or the right thing that would sort of put a cap on it. And that quote by the porter in Macbeth jumped out at us.
I gotta say, it really gets people's attention. That name.
I think so.
Yeah.
So. We're very happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get to call ourselves porters, and
He's drunk, and we were drunk when we decided to start it.
Some of the greatest ideas have come out of being drunk. So
Absolutely.
Or the worst, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys just did Measure for Measure.
We did. Yeah.
How did that go?
it went great. It was a tough rehearsal process for me because I was directing it and I was playing the Duke, who is the lead in the show, and then my father died like 2 weeks before we opened, and it was a lot of not to bring it down or anything, but it was it was just a rough process. And then I was just happy to have the show to be able to go to every day and do that kind of stuff, and with a bunch of people that I love, and critically very well received, and we had some pretty light houses occasionally, but everybody seemed to really like it.
Yeah.
It was an excellent.
I noticed
excellent
you guys
production.
got some real good reviews
Yeah.
in the local LA theater scene. So
Mhm.
that's been
I was
great.
very proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. So what's coming up next for Porters of Hellsgate?
We're gonna do King Lear to
King
open our
Lear.
6th season. It's gonna star a very good actor named Larry Cedar, who people can recognize for. He's a character actor. You see him all over the place.
He was in Deadwood.
He was in Deadwood.
Very nice.
And he's wonderful. Thomas is gonna direct it. And
Awesome.
we actually have auditions today. We go.
We're going directly
We're
there
going
after this.
directly there after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where Alex is.
That's
Yeah.
where. Well, yeah, exactly.
We had a big
Very nice.
company reading last night with a bunch of all of our company actors and selected invited players that we've worked with before, and
Yeah, we have a repertory, sort of a stable of actors, and nobody makes a dime. So the way a company like ours survives is just the family, and there's about 20 people that are very, very deeply devoted to this company, and we get together like last night, and we
drink a lot of wine.
drank a lot of wine and read King Lear from cover to cover, and
We
we
passed
all
parts
we're
back and
unified
forth.
by loving it and loving each other, and that's sort of how you keep going, because it's not the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is not the money.
Do you guys have so it's sort of a membership company?
No, I actually object to membership companies.
Not dues paying or anything like that.
I mean, not yeah, dues paying is what I object to. Not yes, I mean we have a stable of repertory actors.
Okay,
Um,
but it's not a dues paying.
Not a
membership.
dues paying company, no, and never will be.
Interesting. So how do you pay for the productions? Is it all out of pocket?
It is all for the first production. Me and my two co-founders put in $800 each, and we had a singular $1,000 donation, and never had we had to go back to our own pockets again. With that said, we're not making a lot of money, but we have managed to sustain ourselves purely on the shows. We've done one or two fundraisers, and we've had a few donations, but it's all been very small. I mean, in truth, we run on a small budget, and we just sort of recycle that budget. If one show makes a bit more, then the next show can have a slightly larger budget, and if one show loses a bit of money, then the next show has a slightly smaller budget. I mean, it's self-sustaining.
That's really interesting. I automatically assumed that you guys were a dues paying membership fee. But,
No,
but I agree. I kind of object to that in some way myself.
I object to it a lot. I think it's somewhat sickening that the one thing necessary for theater is the actor, and yet you have these dues-paying companies where directors are often being paid, designers are often being paid, everybody else around is often being paid, whereas the actors are paying to be a part of it. I think it's wrong. I think it's abusive. There are exceptions. Some companies come with classes, and some companies, and that's all okay if you justify it. But the idea of paying money to a company so that you might get cast and might work in it,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I just think I think it's really wrong. And in no other city but Los Angeles, where there's so many actors, do people really, I've lived in New York for a time. I don't think there are New York dues paying companies. I'm sure somebody could point out an example or two to me, and
I didn't realize that was just in LA.
I think it is. Yeah, no, I think and maybe it's not just an LA thing. I could be wrong, but I know that the number in LA is massive. There are a lot of dues-paying companies, and I understand that that's how some companies pay for theaters and pay for nice sets and pay for this, that, and the other. And I wouldn't put down an actor who found themselves excited enough by a company that they're willing to do it. I just object to the idea of it, and would never personally do so.
Because we at Theater Palisades we have a dues, but it's $25 a year. So to me that
that's practically nothing.
Yeah.
it feels like that's okay, But these companies that charge $100 a month, 60,
Yeah.
$80 a month,
Yeah.
I mean, where actors can't afford that.
No, I mean, it's one thing to be said if you're in a sort of an actors collective, if all of the actors are bringing money together and all of them are putting it towards a specific show and all of them are going to take an equal cut of any profits, that's one thing, because then everybody's making an equal investment. But you'd look
Right.
at these theaters with, some of them have upwards of 100, 150 members paying in every month. And sure, that's great for the theater. They make a lot of money, but how many of those actors are actually working in a show that month? Very, very few.
That's very true.
And
do a
and
two-person
they're not
show.
getting paid anything because of the glass ceiling that is the 99-seat contract in Los Angeles. So, even if they're under that contract and getting paid for it, they're just making their money back from the payments they've already put into the company.
Okay.
With us, you don't make a dime, but nobody does, and we would never ask you to pay towards it. It's a mutual act of passion, and that's how we keep going.
We ask you to promote the shows and tell your friends, bring your family and stuff like that. We don't do you don't have a number of tickets you have to sell or anything like that.
Yeah.
Your work is sort of your dues.
That's very nice. Because it's a huge commitment anyway to do a show and to, be there for rehearsals every day and
yeah.
all that. That's
Yeah.
kind of like paying anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and you're burning gas to drive there.
Yeah.
And we work around actors' conflict sheets, but come Tech Week, we're asking people to miss a little bit of work. And those. So we are asking for. Everybody is sacrificing to be a part of it, but
Absolutely.
everybody's sacrificing on an equal level, and we're not asking anybody to.
That's really nice. So you touched on something earlier, and I'm going to get back to Porters of the Hellsgate, but you talked about the 99 seat agreement glass ceiling.
Yeah.
First of all, for those that don't know, can you explain what the 99 seat agreement and tell us how you feel about it? Because we've had a lot of different opinions on it on
Okay.
this show.
The 99 seat contract, and we have one for King Lear. So
It's our first time. doing the
in a
99
way,
seat.
perhaps I'll come off as hypocritical here, but because we need one to work with some of the actors we want to work with.
Mhm.
But I do think it's a glass ceiling. I would be surprised. I'd love to see a figure of how many 99 seat contract theaters have moved on to become paying theaters, full LOAs or SPT contracts. Maybe the Colony once was a 99 seat theater, although I don't believe it ever was. Maybe Noise Within once was, but I think they were touring and paying LOA rates by the time like 3 or 4 years in. I'd be shocked if there were more than a handful of 99 seat theaters that moved on to actually pay their actors. I don't think many of them want to.
And the 99 seat agreement, just for people that might not know.
It's $9 a show. For the first month, $12 a show. For the second month, $15 a show. For the third, and there's some sort of breakdown. It allows you to work with union actors. It covers equity. It covers the 4As, which I also think is another problem. I don't know why they're covering SAG-AFTRA in those contracts when SAG-AFTRA is a powerful union and people are making their money. If it just covered equity actors, you could make the theaters pay the equity actors 25 or 30 a show, and probably wouldn't cost them any more money if it covered just equity.
But the 99 seat agreement is something that came to LA, I believe the late 80s, mid 80s, and theaters with 99 seats or less have been using it.
Which is the majority of theaters in Los Angeles.
Right. And it's a contract that, like you said, allows them to work with union actors.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of opportunities from the 99 seat agreement.
Sure.
So, I don't want to sound hypocritical myself, but a lot of people that have come on the show have expressed the opinion that maybe the 99 seat contract could use some renegotiation.
I agree with that. I don't
I think there's a
object to
group
it
getting
in
together
principle.
right now doing that.
What's that?
There's a group of theater producers, small theater producers, that's getting together right now to renegotiate that contract. They're trying to come up with a.
I thought that might have already been settled.
No, it's ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're calling it the LA Theater Producers League.
Yeah. A friend of mine, Jenny Bird from the Bremer Street Theater Company, is involved with it.
Yes, she's great.
Yeah, I would. I think something like it should exist. And I don't object to certain aspects of it. I do think it's a glass ceiling. I don't. I think most theaters are happy to just sit on it. Why? No matter how big they get. And there's theaters like Theater at Boston Court, which I love and which does beautiful work. But they have this massive, gorgeous space, and a lot of money went into that space. And they do pay more than a 99 seat contract, and that's great. But they're still under it. It's sort of, and again, this isn't me bashing Boston Court. I think they're an incredible theater, but there's no tier system to it. All theaters are sort of under the same requirements by it, as far as I know. And some theaters that can afford to pay a little more do. But it just seems whether your theater has a general budget of under $10,000 like we do, or a theater has $100,000 budget for their season, it doesn't matter. If there's 99 seats or less, they can get that contract, and the actors and artists are only required to be paid X amount. And I think that's what I object to. That there's no to at least, and I could be wrong, maybe I don't know everything, but to my mind, no matter what the budget of the theater is, they all get, the only requirements are the $9 a show per union member.
But the before the 99 seat contract, a lot of theater actors were having trouble getting jobs. So what would you suggest in lieu of the 99 seat contract? If they took that away, how would actors get work?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. It would depend on the sort of breakdown of the theater. I'm all for equity, and I'm all for it protecting its actors. I think the 99 seat contract is too wide a blanket, and doesn't have any sort of tier system involved with its breakdown. I wouldn't do away with it altogether. I would love to see some sort of breakdown based on the theater's budget or audience attendance, or although that's tough to gauge, but yeah, just based on budget of show, based on history and seasons and how much money is coming into the theater. I'm not against the idea of being paid $9. I'm not against the idea of being paid nothing if you agree to it, if you're okay with that. But it is really, I mean, the only contract in LA as far as the Colony and Noise Within, the Will Gear, and then you get up to the big theaters.
But then you look at theaters in other cities, like Chicago, for example. They don't have the 99 seat contract, but yet actors are still able to get work there. I don't know if the work is as plentiful as it is out here with the contract, but it can work for other cities.
Oh, sure. I think the idea, or at least I guess the idea that I object to is that, or that I struggle with, is that there is no way whatsoever to make a living, anywhere near a living, on anything like the 99 seat contract. And that's okay. If everybody's okay with that, fine. But
it's basically a gas stipend.
Yeah, it's if anything. But I think I can think of certain theaters that could definitely afford to pay more. And
no one's signing a 99 seat contract to pay their rent.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's and that's okay. I mean, most actors here are probably looking to make their living in film and TV, and there's nothing wrong with that. And they want to do theater, and they love it. And so the 99 seat contract is a means by which they can do it. And so again, it's not. I've stated my objections. It's not. I don't hate it, and I don't have anything against equity. I think equity is a great union, and I'm a proud member myself. But I just think I think it spreads a wide blanket, and I think it is a glass ceiling. I haven't seen any theaters move up from it.
Maybe it could, because it hasn't been renegotiated since the 80s, so maybe it could be looked at again, renegotiated.
I hope so. I mean, yeah, I hope so.
That'd be great. So getting back to Porters of Hellsgate, you guys do purely Shakespeare, is that right?
Almost entirely. We're a classical company. I think in the last 6 years we've done 14 or 15 Shakespeares. Okay. Maybe 16. We've done one original work, one world premiere translation of Oedipus, and we did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead in repertory with Hamlet when we did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was an article that came out this week from Howard Sherman, New York theater critic, that said the name of the article was "Is Shakespeare Bad Marketing?" And I'm wondering if you guys could speak to that. Maybe a lot of people might look at Shakespeare as old-fashioned, old school. We know that it's not. But do you think it's bad marketing to only do Shakespeare shows? Or is it working really well for you?
Well, it depends on, I think, the brand of your company. What we've worked on for the last 6 years is clarity, and clarity of intention, clarity of text. So to make it as easy as possible for the audience to not only understand the language but follow along and get invested in the play. And I think that's where we've marketed ourselves that way, where you come to the show, you're going to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun, and that's part of the Porters of Hellsgate brand. We want to make classical theater fun and inclusive.
Well, and we're young. We got a lot of fire, a lot of energy. I mean, we approach these shows full out. That means sometimes we fail spectacularly, but it also means when we also succeed with flying colors sometimes. I mean, we pour everything we got into these. It's about honoring the text, making it clear, making it exciting, and Shakespeare does have an audience. There are people that very, very much. I mean, we have a small following, but we do have a following of people that come to all of our shows and really love them.
With Hamlet and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead in rep, it marketed itself almost. We had a great time doing it, and we sold out Super Bowl Sunday during that production. Like, we was shocked.
Yeah.
And we had 4 weeks of sold out runs, which was great. We were doing 4 shows a weekend. Yeah. And it was we were astonished because we really needed the money at the time. Sure. And it was just one of those things where it was the right place, right time.
So for you guys, it's not really turning off younger people. It's actually bringing them into your theater. Would you
Yeah,
say?
but it was founded by. I mean, we were 24, 25 when we all sort of jumped in.
Yeah.
Now we're all around 30, but there's younger people, and we have some older actors that are part of it now too. I mean, we're all young in spirit and in our sort of unapologetic love of the work.
Would you say you get a lot of younger audience as well?
Yes.
Oh yeah, and I have friends, and even my own mother was like, I wouldn't know anything about Shakespeare if it wasn't for you guys, because I come to see you guys, which is really nice to hear.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I mean, I think we have. I'd be willing to bet we have one of the best young followings. Definitely amongst LA classical companies, but maybe amongst LA companies, period. Our following is not just young, but we have is significantly a younger crowd.
Sure.
And as long as we don't offend them or blow them off, I think they'll stick with us, which is how a company survives. And a lot of companies now are dealing with the fact that their audiences are getting older and there's no young blood sort of filling up those empty seats.
Right. Right. It seems like you guys are getting a great response from it, though. Just doing Shakespeare, it seems like things are going really well.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do an original work again this year by our associate artistic director Gus Krieger, and we're going to restage a one-man show written by our resident artist Jamie Hecht for the Fringe Festival, for the Hollywood Fringe.
Excellent.
So that's an original and a restaging of an original work, but otherwise it'll be Shakespeare.
That's great.
Yeah.
So 5 years down the line, where do you want to see your company? If it was up to you.
Well, we will have millions of dollars. Sure.
Well, I mean, to be honest,
Hanging out the Playboy Mansion,
it's a toss-up.
of course.
On one hand, I'm okay with us being the way we are. Nobody makes any money, but it's all a part of. I love the work more than anything else, but sometimes when we're all out drinking together and I look at, and Thomas and I can look at the 20, 30 people who are all incredibly dear friends and who love each other and who want nothing more after spending 5 hours rehearsing together than to go out and drink together and spend the evening hanging out with each other, that we have built a family. And I am prouder of that than anything else. And if it's just that way in 5 years, I'm okay with that. I would love to be able to pay the actors, I mean, in some sort of fantasy land, I'd love to have a 100-seat theater and be on sort of the lowest LOA contract where people are actually making something and paying them for that. That would take a lot of steps. I don't know if that's within our reach in 5 years, but I think that'd be sort of an idealized place to land.
So if you'd like to donate, just let us know.
Yeah. But I'd also be okay with us just continuing. We want to knock out the entire canon.
We're about halfway through.
We're just over a third.
Over a third,
but,
yeah.
The entire canyon of
all
Shakespeare?
38 plays,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That'd be awesome.
And we're about six. We've never restaged anything. We've never cannibalized our own work in terms of putting up a show we've already done.
Well, we did one for the Fringe, but
We did one for the Fringe. And when we do, Antony and Cleopatra, eventually we might remount Caesar, which was our first show, and do them in rep, that kind of thing. But on its own, we're not going to remount any shows. We're just going to try to knock out the canon. And I think if we do that within the next 5 or 6 years, that will make us the first company in Los Angeles ever to have done so. I know Noise Within hasn't done it, and I know the Will Gear hasn't. So unless they hear this and take it as a challenge.
Shakespeare in LA.
They're both ahead of us in terms of number of shows, although they have 30, 40 years on us.
Isn't there another one, Shakespeare in LA, that shows? Or am I crazy?
Oh, sure. There's Antaeus, although their coming season has no Shakespeare in it. That's not a criticism. They're a lovely company, but
they're doing You Can't Take It With You.
yeah.
So it's
I was kind of like, what, really?
yeah. I like it though. I think it's good they're branching out a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too, absolutely. LA Women Shakes is coming back, which is great. They've been offline for a few years, but they're doing an all-women Hamlet at the Odyssey coming up, which is exciting.
Very cool.
And there's other LA Shakespeare companies, but they come and go. In terms of sort of regulars that work every year, I think Noise Within and the Will Gear are the only two alongside us. Although I'd be happy.
There's one in the park. too.
Independent Shakespeare.
Independent Shakespeare, yeah.
At Griffith Park works every
They do great
summer
work.
too.
Okay.
Are they based in here or are they based in Vegas?
I don't know.
I thought I know they come here every summer. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're based here or they're based in
Call
Nevada.
us and let us know if you know the answer to that. 323-247-7443.
Yeah.
And by the way, I should say, if you have any questions for our very talented guests, make sure you call that number as well, 323-247-7443. Okay, well, we've kind of talked about what's up in the future for you guys. What about you both personally? How did you? I'll start with you, Thomas. How did you get involved with acting? And are you from LA? Did you?
No, I'm from Arizona. Well, I've moved up and down the West Coast, but Arizona mostly. I was in like the Central Valley, Tempe, Phoenix, that area. And
You moved here around the time you started Portals of Hellsgate, or?
no, I actually moved here in 2004. Yeah, 2004.
Okay.
I was doing. I got a job. I got a gig. I was doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat,
Good one.
and it's at the Pachanga Casino. I've done the show several times. I played Joseph and I played Levi, and then I got cast as chorus in this one. I was like, all right, well, it's a job, cool. And
Yeah.
so we were going to perform at the Pachanga Casino, and then we were coming up to do it at the Kodak. And in the contract, there was like a 3-week break, and in the contract it said you could be let go with 2 weeks' notice. So once they got all the money from the audiences at the Pachanga Casino, they fired a bunch of us and hired soap stars and stuntmen.
Oh,
And
man.
put it on at the Kodak.
Come on.
That was like, welcome to LA.
All right. Yeah. Didn't Michael Damian? Didn't he was playing Joseph for a while there?
Yeah. There's been so many Josephs. Yeah.
Crazy.
Um,
So you did that, and then you just said, forget this. I'm going to start a theater company.
Well, then 2 years I did party promoting in Hollywood, which was fun, but a giant waste of time.
Yeah.
And then I was working at this place in Pacific Palisades called Mogan's Cafe with one of the founders of the company, Jack Leahy. And we just talked about theater all the time, and he was like, "Well, I'm starting a Shakespeare company with my buddies." And I was like, "Dude, I started a Shakespeare company with some friends in Arizona," and we had like 2 shows, and we folded. But and so I went to the audition for Caesar, and I had this massive conflict sheet, and I wasn't cast. And then several actors dropped out, and Charles, out of desperation, was like, "Well, is that Thomas guy still available?" Because we didn't know each other at the time.
Nice.
And then I was
And
cast.
Our first show, I think we cast Caesar with 11 people, which is a small amount anyway. And over the course of it, 5 people dropped out.
And we did an
And
8-man Caesar.
We did an 8-man Caesar in
Wow.
the end.
That's impressive.
Well, yeah, we did it.
And
But
stuck with him
pulled it
ever
off.
since.
it was crazy.
Were people doubling up on roles and all that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was several parts, but we sort of compacted them down into Decius Brutus and changed names and things. It was really fun.
Sounds like it worked out.
Yeah.
What about for you, Charles? What are you from LA? Did you? move
I
there?
am. I was born in New York, but I was raised here. I'm a Los Angelino. I was here since I've been 2. I have lived in New York for a little while, but I love this city. Listening earlier to
Alicia.
Alicia's advice to actors moving here, I agree with you. The only thing I'd add is that I think they a lot of people talk a lot of shit about this city. They come here, and everybody wants to be, all the actors want to be bought. Everybody wants to be bought. You just need the right price. And they sort of slam their heads against Hollywood for 6 months, and Hollywood doesn't care. And then they get fed up, and they start blaming their agents, and they start blaming the city. And I think it's really sad. I think this is a large, beautiful city with an incredible cultural life. And
You just have to find the right groups.
yeah, you have to
Yeah,
find the right group.
exactly.
You have to have an artistic family. I mean, you have to get into a class, not necessarily because you need to be a better actor, although it certainly can't help. Find a good class, but it gives you a community right off the bat.
Yeah.
You're not
right.
alone sitting in your house wondering, what to do in this massive city.
Because it
waiting
can
for the
be
phone to ring.
overwhelming
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
and spread out.
So
That's why it's so important to be proactive and do your own
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And having the family that this company is part of my lifeblood. I mean, it's part of.
I don't know if I'd still
it's
be
like
here if I didn't have these guys.
We still, yeah. I
Sure.
mean, we wait tables, 20, 30 hours a week when we need to, and then we spend during a show. We easily commit 60 hours a week to it, and we're not getting paid for it.
Sure.
But it's just it keeps your soul alive, and it keeps your heart active,
And there's such an opportunity for it, like we were talking before with social media. You can have your cell phone and set it up and film yourself
Sure.
and submit that for an audition.
That's true now.
yeah. No, you have no.
Yeah.
Your limits are yourself. Self-discipline is self-love, but too many people have a really out of whack sense of entitlement.
I'm gonna write that
And
down.
I think that comes, unfortunately, with the idea of being an actor. It's a very self-focused art form. It doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be. It's truly an ensemble art form. But at least within our celebrity culture, in which we hold these people who might be wonderful artists up on pedestals of, they are our Greek gods. I mean, that they're the ones that essentially so much of our culture worships on a day-to-day basis. And so we have a very skewered perception of what an artist is, or what an actor is. I would love, and have managed to over the last few years, to make my living in the theater. But even with real success, even if I continue to work and have success in that regionally, the best regional pay for a week is a Lord A contract that's, could be $1,100, $1,200. 2 days on set, and you're on a SAG-AFTRA contract, and you're past that.
Right.
So I mean, there's also the realism of the sort of economics of this life. It's
But yet some people seem to pull it off.
They
I don't
can.
know how they do it.
You book a good commercial and you're set for the year. Like,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
doable, but I think people have a huge sense of entitlement. Not all, but many.
Well, you said it, the culture. It's the celebrity culture.
Yeah, and then they
people are
get
expecting.
discouraged.
Yeah.
They sort of weren't ready to work.
And the problem is that we're putting people on pedestals like
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan and,
Yeah.
and like Kim Kardashian.
Well, and that
and
that poor fucking girl. I mean, not that she hasn't caused her own problems, but to have them all dragged out in front of the world. I mean, yeah, I imagine it's much tougher to get better when you're put in that position. And like many child actresses, she was raised in that life. She didn't,
She doesn't know anything else.
Yeah, she doesn't know anybody. So I hear people talking about how, well, why doesn't she just clean herself up and get better? It's like, well, this is the only life she's known.
Yeah.
So it's, yes, she's a millionaire. She's fine financially, but
it's got to be tough for
Yeah,
her.
it's gotta be
having those
tough.
people following
Yeah.
her around and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, messy.
Great. Where can people find information about Porters of Hellsgate?
Portersofhellsgate.com.
I just looked you up.
There it is. Yes. Although with the Lear coming up, we have a few updates to do on the site, but they should be done within the next day or two. Facebook.com/Porters of Hellsgate. We have a very
Porters of
active
HG Twitter account.
Porters HG Twitter account. And if you want to join our email list, you can. There should be a link on our website, or you can just email portersofhellsgate@gmail.com, and we'll sign you right up. We don't spam people, and if somebody's an actor, they can let us know, and we put them on an actor's contact list as well to let them know about auditions, like we're running off to today.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We'll break a leg at your audition.
Hey,
Thanks.
well, we don't have to. They
Yeah.
do.
But you can sit there
but
and
hopefully
judge
they
you.
will. There you go. We need good people.
Oh, they got clapping.
Oh, we got clapping.
It is so cheesy.
Well, we are before a live studio audience. Huh?
That's true. That's true.
It's my fan club out there.
Charles,
Mom.
Charles Pasternak and Thomas Bigley from Porters of Hellsgate. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks so
Hey,
much
thank
for
you.
having us. And, Alex sends his love, even if you can't.
Yeah, Alex, where are you? All
Come
right.
see you later.
All right, thanks,
Come
man.
see you later.
Really appreciate
Problem.
it.
Let's oh man, I have to get off the air, don't I? This is so much fun. Let me tell everyone real quick about the Ovation Awards that are coming up tonight. Go to LA Stage, or excuse me, they're coming up on Monday night. Go to lastagealliance.com for all information on that. It's kind of like the Tony Awards for Los Angeles theater. It's real nice. And we're also doing a show at Theater Palisades that opened last night, Enchanted April. It runs from now through December 16th. Check us out at theaterpalisades.com.
Can we plug when King Lear opens?
Yeah. When does King Lear?
Just real quick, King Lear opens January 4th.
January 4th.
January 4th.
Runs for 6 weeks at the Studio Stage in Hollywood, which is on Western. And we'll be running Friday through Sunday, with Sunday matinees for the first 4 weeks, and then we'll do Thursday through Friday shows, 8 p.m. Or Thursday through Saturday shows, 8 p.m. the last 2 weeks.
All the info will be up on our site,
portersofhellsgate.com.
Thank you.
Very nice. Next week, we are going to be talking with the marketing manager from the Pantages Theater, Benny Agueno, and we have guest co-host Dorothy Dillingham Blue, our very first guest co-host of the 6. And we're also going to be having some live music in the studio with Alicia Grants, the other Alicia. Until next week, I'm Brett Chapin. That's engineer Van Eric. This is La La Land on LA Talk Live, and we'll see you at the top.